Good morning, everybody. This is Enter the Stars. And what I found on the line of death was absolutely fascinating. And all I did was follow the line of death around the planet. And to this point, everything that we have seen has shown that this line does exist. It has fallen within 40 to 60 miles of points of death in our nation's history. Probable false flag operations. But first of all, before we get into our history lesson, the true history of this planet, and start to piece together exactly what has happened, it has come to my attention that there has been some censorship going on. Many of you are not able to view my videos from your cell phone. I just encourage you, when that happens, please find a laptop, watch the videos. They are very important. In fact, many of those are my most important videos. Don't give up. What happens is when I use third-party content, any song or video sometimes, for some reason YouTube prevents that, I guess as punishment, from being viewed on a mobile device. When the information is very important, what I will do is just not add music to my videos, but as you can tell, the music usually fits right into the point I'm trying to make. Okay, onward to our history lesson for the day. Now again, all I did was follow the line of death around through Saudi Arabia and down out into the Indian Ocean. And this is what I found. And this is Diego Garcia, a British Indian Ocean territory. Now, for purposes of verifying this, we're going to draw a line from these islands before I show you what's on these islands, so you can see the distance. And we're looking at about 100 miles. Which puts it within the vicinity of what we were finding on the line of death. Now, for those of the naysayers that say that it is not passed directly through the line, there's tens of thousands, or tens of thousands of miles across the ocean and across our planet. So to be within 100 miles is less than 1% accuracy. Okay. Now, let's zoom in and see what's on the island, the British island of Diego Garcia. I want you to focus on this airstrip. And when this was zoomed in the first time, I was just shocked. I would say there's plenty of death going on with these bombers. And then, as always, I encourage you guys to further research these things. They tell us what they're going to do. This is Diego Garcia, and we're going to read through much of this because there is some fascinating information within this Wiki article. It is a tropical footprint-shaped coral atoll located south of the equator in the Indian Ocean, which is what we just saw. It is a vast submarine range in the Indian Ocean, topped by a long chain of coral reefs, atolls, and islands. Mauritius sought to regain sovereignty lost to the UK in 1965 over the Chagos Archipelago, which is where these islands are. Between 68 and 73, the Chagosians, then numbering about 2,000 people, were expelled by the British government. These were the native people. Does this sound familiar to you guys? To allow the United States to establish a military base on the island. Today, exiled Chagosians are still trying to return, as many other people are trying to return to their islands and regain sovereignty. Hawaii, Fiji, the list goes on. Let's continue. It says Diego Garcia became a colony of the United Kingdom after the Napoleonic Wars as part of a Treaty of Paris. In 1914, the island was visited by a German light cruiser. In 1942, the British established RAF Station Diego Garcia as an advanced flying boat unit. Both Catalina and Sunderland aircraft were flown during the course of World War II in search of Japanese and German submarines. In the early 1960s, the UK was withdrawing its military presence from the Indian Ocean, not including the base at RAF GAN to north of Diego Garcia in the Maldives. An agreement to permit the United States to establish a naval communication station on one of its island territories there. The United States requested an unpopulated island belonging to the UK, and to avoid political difficulties with newly independent countries, and ultimately the UK and United States agreed that Diego Garcia was a suitable location. To accomplish the UK-United States mutual defense strategy, in 1965, the UK purchased the Chagos Archipelago, which includes Diego Garcia, with the intent of ultimately closing the plantations to provide the uninhabited British territory from which the United States would conduct its military activities in the region. In April 1966, the British government bought the entire assets of the company for 600,000, I guess those are pounds, and administered them as a government enterprise while awaiting United States funding of the proposed facilities, with an interim objective of paying for the administrative expenses of the new territory. However, the plantations, both under their previous private ownership and under government administration, proved consistently unprofitable. You guys starting to get the picture here? On December 30th, 1966, the United States and the UK executed an agreement through an exchange of notes which permit the United States to use the British island-owned territories for defense purposes for 50 years through December of 2016. That date is coming up, followed by a 20-year optional extension to which both parties must agree by December 2014. That's next year. No monetary payment was made from the United States to the UK as part of the agreement or any subsequent amendment. Rather, the United Kingdom received a U.S. $14 million discount from the United States on the acquisition of submarine-launched ballistic missiles per a now declassified amendment to the 1966 agreement. So they got a ballistic missile system that could be launched from submarines from us, and they gave us the island. By 1973, which was the year of my birth, the Naval Communications Station was completed. So then some political stuff happened in the 70s and 80s. The West became concerned with the flow of oil. Now, remember the proximity of these islands. It is on the line of death, lined up with the Strait of Hormuz, through which oil flows. They are in a perfect position to do whatever they want. They got a $400 million expansion of the facility, consisting of two parallel 12,000-foot long runways, which is what we saw there. Expansive parking aprons for heavy bombers. So we saw all that from the map. Here's some more of the history. You can see the expansion and activities through the 80s. Aircraft carriers, bombers. They've got an arsenal down there, possibly even nuclear weapons. They call them stratofortresses, Boeings. This is where a lot of our ships and things came from the Gulf, for the Gulf War. Munitions, bombs, a lot of death here. Targets in Afghanistan were hit from this location. Why don't you ever hear about this in school? This is a major military operation here. But here it is in Wikipedia, which is why you never believe what you're taught. You must learn for yourself. Otherwise, it's shame on you. And this is how they control us. They do marine protected areas. On April 2010, UK Cabinet declared the Chagos Archipelago a marine protected area and prohibited all extractive industry, including fishing, oil and gas. It is unclear whether Diego Garcia is included in the MPA, but this is what I do. So this is what they do. So the people that were kicked out now can't even fish and make a living around their homeland. See how this works? Marine protection has nothing to do with protecting the marine environment. It has everything to do with control. I do a lot of fishing, and I can tell you, from being a shore fisherman, the amount of roads that actually reach the shoreline are maybe 1/10 and 1/100th of a percent of the entire area of the ocean, which means that all those other areas are able to proliferate in the natural flora and fauna and fisheries, and they're replenished naturally. My impact of fishing is going to have almost nothing to do with survival of those species, but yet I am told what size to catch, limits, and so on and so forth, to the point where you could not survive if you were to follow the rules off of fishing, which is very sad because that's how man survived for millions of years. And this article goes on for quite a bit, and I'll cut it off here, but hopefully this has piqued your interest so that you guys can read further in this article and get a little bit more history on our country. Take care and be safe.